Hi, this is Leron Hirschkorn from ChooseTerm.com, and today I want to talk to you about Suze Orman and life insurance. So first I want to say that I respect Suze Orman a lot. I think she gives people some really great advice, and I would watch her show myself. Where I don't agree with her on a couple of things, I'm going to point that out to you today in this video. So what does Suze Orman say about life insurance? Well, Suze Orman recommends that you get, generally most people should get a 20-year term life insurance policy at 20 times your annual income. So what does that mean? That means if you're 30 years old and you make $50,000 a year, you should get a $1 million 20-year term life insurance policy. So she also says if you're a 50-year-old, you should get a 20-year term policy. She gives the blanket advice most people should get 20-year term policy at 20 times their annual income. So where I don't agree is that every person's situation is different. You want to assess your age. If you're 50 or 60, you might be looking at a 10 or 15-year term policy, especially because it's going to be significantly cheaper than a longer term policy. If you're 20 or 25, you might want to get a 30-year term policy, or you might even want to get permanent insurance. But if you're looking at term, you're going to want to get maybe a 30-year policy because you're going to want that to last a long time, especially because you're young and it's very cheap compared to a 20-year policy, and you may have very young kids, or you may be planning a family and you want to have a policy that can protect them until they get out of college. So first, I don't agree that everybody should have a 20-year term policy. I also don't agree that everyone should have 20 times their annual income. I think that results in people having either too much insurance or too little insurance. For example, you want to assess things like, do you have children? Are you protecting just a spouse, or are you protecting a spouse and 3 kids? That makes a difference. Do you want to have funds to pay off a mortgage, to replace your income for 5 years, or for 10 years, for 20 years? Does your spouse work, and how much coverage will she need to maintain the same lifestyle? Do you want to have funds set aside for your children's education as well, as part of a death benefit if something were to happen? These are all things to consider when deciding the type of coverage that you want, and obviously also figuring out what you can afford and figuring out what the right number is for you. At ChooseTerm.com, we work with you specifically to help you find the right number for you. So I don't think everybody should just get 20 times their annual income or 20-year term. A 50-year-old is very different than a 30-year-old. Suze Orman also recommends SelectQuote. While SelectQuote is a well-established company, they only work with about 10 life insurance companies. Now, if you're in great shape, have no health conditions, you probably will get a competitive quote from SelectQuote. However, SelectQuote doesn't work with every life insurance company, and so when it comes to having a specific health condition, what we do is we work with over 30 companies, and we know to match you up specifically with the companies that are going to offer you the most favorable rates. For example, if you have diabetes, or if you've had any other specific health condition, we can match you up with the right company. At SelectQuote, less likely that's going to happen, and we've worked with people that have either been declined or have gotten much higher quotes after applying with SelectQuote, and then being able to save the money by matching them up with a different company that's more suitable for them. So we work with all the companies that SelectQuote works with, plus at least another 20 other companies that we can match you up with. SelectQuote is also a call center, so you're not going to have that personal relationship that you would have if you worked with an independent agency. So SelectQuote, when you call them, you work with a call center, agent, that person is likely never to call you again. As far as customer service goes, you will be working with a different department. You won't be working with the same agent that sold you the policy, and it's less personal. At ChooseTerm.com, we're an independent life insurance agency. You work with the founder of the company, and when you have an issue before, during, after the sale, you get to work with the founder of the company. And it's a much more personalized touch and approach to working with our clients. So we agree with Suze Orman on a number of things. Term insurance makes sense for a lot of people. You can get great rates by shopping the market and working with an agency that can shop the market for you, but we don't necessarily agree with her specific recommendation of blanket recommendation that one size fits all, that one thing works for everyone. And we also recommend that you work with an independent agency like Choose Term. You can give us a call at 800-574-0245. My extension is 101, or you can visit our website at chooseterm.com, fill out a quote request form, and then we'll work with you to find the right policy for your specific situation. Thank you.